It's time for an adult's edition of Spot the Difference. G'day everyone. To get to the point where I had this tool in my hot little hand has taken more than a year. Can't believe how difficult it was to track one down and get it into New Zealand. I'll try and tell you the story as quickly as possible. Someone in Australia contacted me about this particular tool and said, can I get one for them? I asked Makita New Zealand. Makita New Zealand didn't have them. Makita Australia don't have them. So I contacted my contacts in Japan and was told that Makita Japan do not stock this model, to which I thought, what the fuck? At which point I kind of gave up. And by that point we were at about November 2021. Started looking in October 2021, hunted around everywhere, eBay, etc. Nobody would send one to New Zealand. Fast forward about 9 months or so, and the person contacted me again. Now this has been stuck in my head and even more stuck in his head, how to get one of these things. So he asked again, and my contacts have grown since then, so I know a lot more of you guys, and a lot of you help me out with things, and I know a lot more Makita dealers and tool reps and all these sorts of things, so it was hopefully going to be a little bit easier. So I started putting the feelers out there. I asked a few different reps in different countries around the world, and no one was able to get me one still, which I was pretty shocked about. You can find them quite easily on European websites, but yeah, no one would ship them to New Zealand, and some Makita dealers couldn't even buy them. So another month or so rolls by, and another subscriber, another one of you guys, left an innocuous comment on a different video, on a post somebody had left 9 months previous, saying that this tool exists, and the person said something that made me think, hello, this person might be able to get me one. So I contacted him, sent him my email address, he got in touch, and through the powers of DHL and everything else, it is now finally here. This is the Makita CXT 12 volt TD112D impact driver. This is one of Makita's production and assembly line torque control tools, the rest of which you can see in the background. Oh, wait on, I haven't put them there yet. Give us a second. How about, we'll do this. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and there they are. Oh, wait on a minute. We'll just put the camera up, shall we? We need some dramatic music or something there, don't we? Dun 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 sort of stuff. So 111 aside, that is quite the range of production tools right there. 19 of them in shot at the moment. That's quite a lineup of tools to test for one video, so I think we'll just go back to talking about this one. Back to looking at what is different between these two tools. That's how we started this video, wasn't it? What is the difference? Spot the difference. Well, first off, this one's a little bit taller. You can see that straight away. It's narrower in the base. Doesn't have the areas on the side for putting a belt hook. Also, if you look at the bottom at the back here, there is nowhere to put a lanyard like there is on this one. Now a lot of you are not going to think these tools are worth having, these production line tools. You're not going to quite get it. There's a lot of guys, however, that think these should be the tools that you use and that these are just sort of DIY home gamer type ones. This one, obviously, lots of TPE overmolding, this black rubbery stuff. Nothing on here. That's because this is designed, like I say, production line sort of stuff. You don't want oils and solvents and things eating away at this stuff, melting the glues and rubbers and everything like that, and it all goes sticky and horrible. Also, these do tend to peel off. There's more places for dust and stuff to hide. This is a much more streamlined looking tool. It's just got a basic grip pattern and actually feels really comfortable and nice in the hand. This is designed to be simple and accurate and clean and just get the job done repeatedly over and over again to the right specifications. But looking at other features, forward and reverse, exactly the same as a standard impact driver. One thing that might not be obviously apparent is the screws. If you look at this one, no screws visible on it. Yet this one has got the screws. Spin this one around, screws, spin this one around, oh, still got the recesses. That's because this one is screws that go straight into the plastic on the other side of the clamshell. It's just a screw going into plastic, not the greatest long-term sort of solution, especially if you're going to service the tool a lot, open it up a lot. This, however, has bolts, basically. So we've got little machine screws in there, and we've got nuts set in the other side. So much better affixment on this tool than that one. If you look at the front, similar sort of thing. This has got this plastic thing, the glow-in-the-dark bumper. Nothing like that on here, just 4 screws. Simple, good old-fashioned sort of impactor over there. Now, the chucks and collets, very different on these two tools. Let's zoom in a bit. Front on, you can see that the production chuck is a much gruntier looking chuck. There's a lot more metal going on here than there is here. This is far thinner walled than this one. The chuck is also much shorter on the standard 111 model than the production model, and if you also look here, we have steel, knurled steel collet on the standard one that we're all sort of used to, but the production model is a TP overmolding style one. It's all sort of rubbery. So why would they do that? Well, if you're using this in a car factory, for instance, you're manufacturing a Ferrari or something like that, you're putting nuts and screws on a delicate piece of machinery, you do not want your collet to scratch anything, to cause any damage. If this hits anything, you're likely to get a little scratch. This is going to be much more forgiving. They both have lights. And now getting into the more functional aspects of the tools. The 111. Nice trigger, of course, it's a Makita. Sounds pretty similar, but the trigger is a little bit softer. Just a little bit nicer feeling than the 111. Although, bigger range of speeds on this one compared to this one, but we'll get to that shortly. Also with the triggers, you'll notice the stroke length on this is much longer. Production tools are designed with a 6mm stroke length to help with operator fatigue. You don't have to pull your finger so much. You can just, as soon as you touch it, it's away. It doesn't need to move as far. Looking at the control panels here, you'll see the TD112D has red lights and the 112 has green lights. Green lights usually a little bit easier to see than the red ones. But a bigger difference than that is this one has an auto mode, so that's like starts off slow so you don't damage screws or your workpiece. This one doesn't have such a feature. This one also has a button to change between your soft and hard settings. This one has a hole that you have to put a pin through. So that's designed so there's less to go wrong. You're pushing this all the time, and there's also less chance of anyone putting it on the wrong setting. You set it by pushing a pin in, and then you can't accidentally bump that and change the setting. You want this tool to stay the same so you get the right torque for whatever it is you're doing. When we look at the nameplates here, there's also some differences. You'll see on the 111 that we have the date and the serial number, where on the 112 there is no date and serial number. Why is that? These always get busted, they fall off, they wear off, etc. Well, on the 112, the date and serial number are stamped on the bottom with the tool number as well, so it's in an area underneath the battery where it is never going to wear off. And there's a lot of people that will love that tiny little feature. But now looking at the actual speeds of these things and the beats per minute, we've got 1300 to 3000 RPM on the 111, but 2000 to 3000 on the 112. So this one starts off a lot slower than this one. And impact wise, 1600's the lowest on this. The lowest on this, 3300. Quite different. But the high one, 3900, 3900. So they're both 135 Newton meter torque rated tools on their highest setting. But On the lower setting, this one is only rated at 80 Newton meters, whereas this one is rated at 20. So you can do far finer work, you would think, with the 111 than the 112. And if you haven't already noticed, they are both made in China. Unlike the production tools in the background there, which are made in Japan, and they also have another feature just here that this one does not have. This is quite a basic production tool really when compared to the ones in the background, because the ones in the background have this feature here. That plugs into your computer. We'll talk about that when we do the production video. I've raided the wife's stationery area. Oh, I've got a little spider on me. Off you go, mate. Got a pink paper clip here. So let's trigger that. We're on high. Got the two lights. Hard and soft is how they do it. Somewhere in here there's a button. The button is much firmer than I thought it would be. It's real tight, and I guess that's so nothing accidentally pushes it and it makes it hard for people to just change it quickly. So there we go, hard, soft, hard, soft. You can also use this hole for turning the light on and off. I'll leave it in the soft mode and we'll put the other one in the soft mode and we'll show the difference between the two. 40mm stainless 8-gauge nails on the soft setting on the TD111. Pretty slow, pretty slow. Let's take a look at the 112. Should be a lot quicker. We're on the soft setting. 40mm stainless 8-gauge screw. Much quicker. Doesn't have a slow setting like the 111. Let's see if there's any difference now in the top speeds. 3, 2, 1. Now I expect the 112 to be basically exactly the same as the 111. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Three, two, one. Now this is a nice tool to use, but there's something about it I've noticed that's rather disconcerting. When you use it, driving screws, it feels like it's opening up. And by opening up, I'm talking about the clamshell. If we take a look at the front here, you of course have the join of the clamshell running down the middle there. Your fingers of course lap over the top of that. Well, have a look at this flex. Can you see that by the trigger there? And down the handle, and it's probably not enough to catch your skin, but it moves a lot. See that? And you feel that opening and closing as you're using the tool, which I've never noticed with a Makita impact driver before, even though of course this one has the join in the same place and also does flex quite a bit, although it doesn't feel like it flexes quite as much, but it's because it's got that rubber overmolding, you probably don't feel it the same. That's my only complaint about that tool that I can find. It's a nice little unit to use and not the sort of tool most of you are going to try and get, because not available in New Zealand, not available in Australia, not available in Japan. I don't know if it's available anywhere in Asia. I don't think it's available in the US. So it might be the sort of tool that you can only get in a very specific places, basically just Europe for some reason. This one got sent to me from Croatia. Now make sure you subscribe if you want to see all these other ones in the background here, which are 14.4 and 18 volt production tools, and like I showed you earlier, have that little USB hole in the back so that you can do some really cool things with these ones. These are on another level. These tools are, yeah, they're cool. They're a big step up from this 12 volt one. So make sure you subscribe and like, and when you subscribe, hit the notification bell, that little bell, make sure you click all on that so that you do get the notifications. People are always complaining they don't get notifications. Make sure you do that, That at least gives you the best chance possible. I know YouTube seem to do weird things every now and again, and sometimes they sort of unsubscribe people and turn off notifications, and I don't know how. I don't know what goes on, but there's some weird stuff goes on with subscriptions. Anyway, they are of course both brushless tools. And this is not the sort of tool you want if you change between settings a lot, because yeah, it's a bit of a pain finding something to jam down there, and it's actually quite hard to find the right spot and push it down. You get about a minute to do that once you pull the trigger. If you within the 10 seconds, if you push the button, you can turn the light off, and within a minute, poke the button and you can flick between the hard and soft modes. Don't know what happened to my voice then. Went a bit weird. 977 1006. It's at 29 grams. Hardly anything in it, but the production model slightly heavier. Anyway, that is the TD112D production impact driver. Let me know if you use one of these on a regular basis and what you love about it or don't love about it compared to a standard sort of Makita home gamer DIY tradey style tool over the fancy production line one. Yeah, be interesting to see what people use this particular one for, what job they've got that requires this tool. And I'll see you all again next time on another review. So cheers guys, there's a lot coming up between now and the end of the year, so well, hopefully I've got to get busy. Okay, cheers guys. So this thing started in a small town in Croatia, went to Zagreb, Croatia, then across to Milan in Italy, then Leipzig, Germany, then it shot across to Luton in the UK, and then it left the UK from Heathrow, London. It then went across to Cincinnati in the US before making its way to Los Angeles in the US, and then its final trip across the Pacific Ocean down to Auckland, New Zealand. It has done a lot of travelling for a young, tiny little impact driver. Hope you enjoyed your journey, pal. Now, you're off to Australia.